In the heady days of the late 1960s, America's love affair with space exploration reached its zenith. The moon, that distant celestial body, became an emblem of human ingenuity and determination. The Apollo program, NASA's ambitious undertaking, aimed to land humans on the lunar surface and return them safely to Earth. Among the many missions that contributed to this grand narrative, none would capture the world's attention and showcase the resilience of the human spirit like Apollo 13. As the 1970s dawned, the world eagerly awaited the launch of Apollo 13. The crew, comprised of Commander Jim Lovell, Command Module Pilot John Swigert, and Lunar Module Pilot Fred Hayes, were set to embark on a historic journey. The mission had its unique allure. It was NASA's third attempt to land humans on the moon, following the triumphant successes of Apollo 11 and Apollo 12. The astronauts, experienced and daring, radiated a contagious enthusiasm. Lovell, a veteran of 2 previous spaceflights, was a commanding presence with a wealth of experience. Swigert, who had replaced the original Command Module Pilot Ken Mattingly due to concerns about his exposure to German measles, was a skilled astronaut and a last-minute addition to the crew. Hayes, the Lunar Module Pilot, was poised for his maiden space voyage. The launch was flawless, a thunderous spectacle that left onlookers in awe. The Saturn V rocket roared to life, piercing the sky as it carried the spacecraft into the cosmic expanse. The world watched with bated breath as Apollo 13 hurtled towards the moon, its crew riding a pillar of fire and ambition. However, the optimism surrounding the mission would soon give way to a harrowing reality. 2 days into the journey, on April 13, 1970, a routine procedure to stir the oxygen tanks in the service module went tragically awry. An oxygen tank exploded, rocking the spacecraft and jolting the astronauts. In an instant, the mission transformed from a triumphant lunar landing to a desperate struggle for survival. The communication that followed was a mix of confusion and urgency. "Houston, we've had a problem," Lovell calmly reported, masking the gravity of the situation. Back on Earth, in the cavernous halls of Mission Control in Houston, flight controllers exchanged uneasy glances. The Apollo 13 mission had just become a high-stakes drama, a test of human ingenuity in the unforgiving vacuum of space. The explosion not only compromised the oxygen supply, but also crippled the spacecraft's power and propulsion systems. The lunar landing was no longer feasible, and the immediate concern was getting the crew safely back home. In a race against time, NASA had to navigate a spacecraft crippled by technical malfunctions and ensure the astronauts had enough resources to survive the journey. As the world held its breath, the astronauts, encased in the limited confines of the lunar module Aquarius, faced a myriad of challenges. The lunar module, designed for a short stay on the moon, lacked the necessary resources for a prolonged voyage back to Earth. Oxygen levels were depleting, and temperatures inside the spacecraft plummeted to near freezing. The trio huddled together, their breath visible in the cold, calculating their odds of survival. Back on Earth, the families of the astronauts grappled with the reality of the crisis. Marilyn Lovell, Jim's wife, stared at the television screen, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and determination. The families became an integral part of the narrative, their emotions oscillating between hope and despair as they awaited updates from Mission Control. In Houston, Flight Director Gene Kranz led a team of engineers and experts tasked with solving the myriad problems plaguing Apollo 13. The situation was unprecedented, requiring innovative solutions and real-time problem-solving. Kranz's stoic demeanor belied the pressure he felt, but he exuded confidence to instill hope in his team and the watching world. The crew and Mission Control engaged in a delicate dance of communication, the lifeline between the stranded astronauts and those on Earth. The challenges were immense, from devising makeshift carbon dioxide scrubbers to conserve power to rationing the limited water supply. The astronauts and the ground crew faced a relentless barrage of problems, each one demanding a solution. Amidst the technical jargon and tense discussions, the human element of the story emerged. Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes grappled with the reality that their moon landing had morphed into a fight for survival. The vastness of space, once a canvas for exploration, now seemed a desolate expanse fraught with danger. Their thoughts oscillated between the immediate challenges and the distant families waiting for their safe return. The pivotal moment arrived when the decision was made to power down the command module, preserving its remaining resources for re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. The lunar module, never intended for this purpose, became a makeshift lifeboat. It was a moment of stark realization. The crew would have to endure the re-entry in a craft designed for a single astronaut, their fate hanging in the balance. As the world watched, the lunar module separated from the command module, leaving behind a crippled shell. The astronauts braced themselves for the fiery re-entry, the intensity of the Earth's atmosphere threatening to consume them. The communication blackout during re-entry felt like an eternity, and for a moment, the fate of Apollo 13 hung in the void. Then, breaking through the tension, the crackling voice of Lovell echoed through the radio waves. "Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here." The relief that swept through mission control and households around the world was palpable. Against all odds, Apollo 13 had survived the perilous journey through space and was now hurtling towards a safe splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. The recovery marked the triumphant end to a saga that had gripped the world. The crew, though physically weakened, emerged from the spacecraft to the cheers of the recovery team. The indomitable spirit of human ingenuity, the unwavering dedication of the astronauts, and the collective effort of NASA had overcome the vastness of space and brought the crew back from the brink of disaster. In the aftermath of Apollo 13, the mission became a symbol of resilience and determination. The technical failures that marred the journey became catalysts for innovation and improvements in space travel. NASA conducted thorough investigations, implementing changes to prevent a recurrence of the oxygen tank explosion. The space agency's ability to adapt and learn from failure underscored the inherent risks of exploration, while emphasizing the imperative of pushing the boundaries of human capability. The legacy of Apollo 13 reverberated beyond the confines of space exploration. It became a metaphor for overcoming adversity, a testament to human courage in the face of the unknown. The story of Apollo 13, with its mix of scientific complexity and human drama, resonated with people around the globe. It inspired a generation of scientists, engineers, and dreamers to push the limits of what was deemed possible. The courage displayed by Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes in the desolate confines of their lunar module became an enduring symbol of human tenacity. The efforts of Mission Control, led by Gene Kranz, showcased the power of collective problem-solving and unwavering commitment to a shared goal. The families, who had endured the agonizing wait for news, emerged as unsung heroes, their strength and resilience mirroring that of the astronauts in space. As subsequent Apollo missions pushed further into the cosmos, each carried the lessons of Apollo 13. The mission was a stark reminder that space exploration was not just about conquering the unknown, but also about mastering the challenges that came with it. The daring and determination exhibited during those teensy days in April 1970 became a cornerstone of NASA's ethos, shaping the agency's future endeavors. In the grand tapestry of space exploration, Apollo 13 remains a thread that weaves together the scientific, technological, and human aspects of the journey. It is a story of triumph over adversity, of resourcefulness and innovation in the face of insurmountable odds. The crew's safe return from the brink of disaster stands as a testament to the audacious spirit that propels humanity to explore the cosmos. The tale of Apollo 13 endures not just as a chapter in the history of space exploration, but as a beacon of inspiration for those who gaze at the night sky and dream of reaching beyond the stars. It reminds us that in the vastness of the cosmos, where challenges abound and the unknown beckons, the human spirit remains unyielding, ready to confront whatever lies on the horizon of discovery.